burning wives after their husbands die is okay. Our only burden of proof is to show that why, if people consent to being treated this way, then that consent should be approved by the government. That we think the purpose of government is to respect individual freedom, is to respect individual rights, so long as these rights do not harm other people in society. And we've analyzed from the start that because there's this consent among all the parties involved and among the society that wants to maintain this practice, then there is no harm that we see there. But in the end, we see that this debate has boiled down into 2 points of questions. First of all, can citizens actually consent to damaging themselves through bodily harm, which they believe is done through cannibalism? And second of all, how will this impact culture of the society? On the first idea of whether or not citizens can consent to being eaten, we said that all our practices of giving a person a right to life, a right to pursue happiness, was because we respected how they wanted to live their life. We even allowed bodily harm to be done through smoking, even though that destroys the life throughout the years, because in the end it's the citizen's choice, an example they never engaged with. We also showed how because what they said was that, no, we are not allowed to do this because it is against our ethical or moral code, but never explaining where this ethical and moral code is actually established from. The only effort at explanation that they gave to this was because it's based on the majority of religions that existed in today. And we say it's shameful, like Javan just said, when you allow religion to be the basis of governance, but you don't respect culture, which to some people are just as important in maintaining their livelihoods. We also said that they have been very inconsistent in their idea of consent to doing bodily harm upon yourself. Because the third speaker analyzed that it's wrong to do drugs, because you know drugs harm your body, and drugs is taking away the sacredness of life. But after we POI showing that in Amsterdam, you're allowed to do drugs, showing that there is no such thing as a universal acceptance of value, he said, well, not all drugs are actually bad, that some drugs are actually good for you, showing that they're being very inconsistent and they're not actually being brave enough to really prove what they're supposed to prove. And lastly, they said that citizens do not have the right to consent to it because they're under pressure. But we said that there's never an analysis of what do they mean when a person is not under pressure. What do they mean when a person is fully rational? Because we analyzed from the third speaker that every single person lives in a realm of ideas circulating around them when they are told to conform to these ideas because this is what the society told them. And when they do not like these ideas, then they can go to another society which was only engaged in by the reply speaker who said, well, you can't run away, you need to fix the problem. And we say that even that little amount of analysis should not be counted at all, but it all comes in the reply speaker. So in the end, we think that we've proven to you how these citizens do have the right to consent to being treated how they want to be treated, that the fact that the Hindus are allowed to be burned after death, that the fact that we're allowed to smoke and cause bodily harm upon ourselves, saying that the fact that how our culture wants us to live and how we want to live is the one that we should guarantee towards these individuals. The second idea of how this will impact culture. We said how the practice of culture in some societies in India, in Papua, is heavily based on this because they need to know that their ancestors are with them through the passing of their flesh by cannibalism, that it gives them unity, that it gives them identity. But what the negative said was that, no, we are not allowed to let culture be, because we always need to impose what our idea of culture is, which we don't see that they never actually sufficiently analyze why it is suddenly the right of the United Nations, of the right of the government, to bring up all these new ideas to civilizations that were living on this land before us, that we have a duty to respect. That is the reason why we allow Papuan people to still wear koteka, because it is what their culture is, it is what their identity is, and they never showed why it is sufficiently wrong for them to do so. So in the end, we say that we've managed to successfully propose allowing consensual cannibalism, because we've proven to you how all these citizen individuals have a right to do this, how they consent to do this, and how it's a purpose of maintaining their culture, which we have no right to take away from them.